I made the drawers to go into this cabinet, 3 shallow ones plus a deeper one, and I want to work out where to mount the drawer slides so that all these drawers end up evenly spaced. There's 5 centimeters of vertical space left here, and I'm going to spread these drawers so that they're all gapped the same. So with 4 drawers, each one has a space above it plus a space below the last one, so 5 gaps, which means I can have a 1 centimeter gap between everything. And I want to mount the drawer slides so that they're flush with the bottom edge of all the drawers. So the bottom one is easy, I just mount that 1 centimeter from the bottom. The next one I need to work out what spacing from here to here, and that's just a matter of adding the 14 centimeters for this drawer plus the 1 centimeter gap, and that space is reduced by the height of that drawer slides, comes to 10.5 centimeters. Next one is very much the same, except it's a shallower drawer, comes to 5.03, 5.03, and then hopefully that last gap will be just right. I stacked up my drawer slides with the spacers to make sure it all works out, and that the top one is the right distance from the top, leaving the right size gap for the last drawer. And now I can just glue these in place, and I'll be confident that all the drawer slides will be precisely in the right spot. I don't really need pilot holes in this wood, but I find with a small pilot hole, I have much more control over where the screw goes. Instead of mounting all the drawer fronts relative to each other, I made them all relative to the bottom one, and that way they're all consistent. Normally I tweak the individual drawer fronts to make sure those gaps are all the same, because if they're off just a millimeter, it really shows. But in this one I set them all absolute. And the cool thing is, they're actually interchangeable. And the gaps are still good. Now these drawers aren't all interchangeable because the bottom ones are a little bit deeper. And then this one here actually has a different style of drawer slides because I ran out. And what I would do differently next time is I would make these spacer blocks actually even thicker, because they really help support the slides, but some of these slides need to be able to move in a little bit just to adjust for the exact drawer width. And I think while mounting the blocks I would tilt the cabinet on its side a little bit so I wouldn't have to clamp the blocks and the slides in place while I'm placing them. And these are self-closing slides. Not that I really wanted that, but those were actually the cheapest I could find, and they're a little bit hard to pull initially. But I dropped one of them and broke the little pin that sticks out right here. There's a pin that sticks out. And so one of these doesn't self-close anymore, so I've only got the self-close mechanism on one side on this one. And that actually is just about right. So I think I'm going to break half of these pins on here to make the other ones easy as well. And what is this piece of furniture? People have been asking on Instagram. Well, it's actually another workbench, which I'm actually going to swap with this one. Basically just a work table with lots of drawers for storage. I don't need a vise on my workbench because I'm not a hand tool worker.